Here is the 2026 Acura ADX in crystal black over ebony. 5 different colors to choose from when you're in the base trim. 1 interior color to choose from. 3 different trims, a front wheel drive or a super handling all-wheel drive. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and you gain 32 horsepower and 41 pound-feet of torque over the HRV. The suspension, it's also changed. The aesthetics in the interior gets different designing. So is it going to be worth the increase of price going here opposed to the HRV or even the competition? All ADX will receive 7.3 inches of clearance. The only difference is you're getting an exterior kit when you go into the A spec and you're getting LED fog lights, which here they just cover it up. Kind of wish that they would change this. You get this dark gray with the satin aluminum here. The Pentagon grille, it no longer has a frame around it, so it keeps that motion design that goes into the LED headlights and LED daytime runnings, and keeping that performance styling that's known from Acura. And now, sidetracking from specs and diving head on into competition. Lincoln's gonna be a little bit more money than this. Infiniti doesn't have anything to compete against this. Lexus, same thing, it's gonna be more money, but you get a hybrid variant, so it's gonna be the best for MPGs. And then if you go into the Germans, you're going to be spending anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 more, but you're going to be getting more power. You're going to get a more dynamic suspension, whereas this one, it's going to be tuned, but backing it with this 1.5 liter VTEC turbocharged 4-cylinder, producing 190 horsepower with 179 pound-feet of torque that's paired to a CVT transmission, achieving 26 MPGs for the highway, 31 MPGs for the city. This is where the performance kind of ends, and they do that with that CVT transmission. If they would have put an actual transmission like Acura normally does, giving that extra power instead of giving the 2.0 liter that goes into the HRV, I think this would have been a home run, especially at the price that it's at. And the HRV, well, it is getting an update next year. It's going to be all new design. That's not going to be the case here. So if you're thinking, I don't want to option a 26 because next year it's getting a refresh, it's actually going to be 28 to maybe 29 before we actually see that. Now, I'm sure you're wondering in the comments, is it the same suspension as the HRV? It does have the McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension, but this has a more sport-tuned suspension. Front-wheel drive is going to be a 60-40 weight distribution, and the super handling all-wheel drive will be at 58-42. 18-inch wheels. The A-spec will change this into a 19-inch, and the same thing for the Advance. But the brakes are going to be the same at 12.3-inch vented in the front and 12.2-inch vented in the rear. And the highlights of the ADX is going to have that dark gray that goes around all of the fenders and around the whole vehicle, whereas the A-spec will change it. It's going to be more of the gloss black, so it has a little bit more of a sport essence. LED taillights is standard on all trims, and it keeps the HRV styling in the rear with a little bit of a twist, because this lower roof spoiler I think looks a lot more dynamic. But what they should have done is maybe move this underneath here. I understand it would have cost a lot of money to do so, but you are paying a premium going into Acura. Dual exhaust that's exposed, I appreciate that. You get the satin aluminum and kind of a diffuser. You're not really going to be towing with this, and payload is around 700-800 pounds, so it gets the job done for a smaller SUV. And if I'm the one shopping for this smaller SUV, I am going to start thinking about payload, towing capabilities, which this doesn't. You can't do it. You have to go into the RDX in order to do so. So it slots in a good position because it's in the lower $30,000 price point when you're on the base trim. But then it starts to become a question if you go into the A-spec. I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe and click the like. All these clicks help with the algorithm so we can bring more vehicles to the channel. All trims come with a power liftgate. The A-spec Advance has a kick to open, going into 24.4 cubic feet of storage LED interior lights. You get a 12-volt charger. Underneath the floor, you get some storage compartments. Front to back, right at 35 inches. From side to side at 40.5 inches, and you can add 14 more inches in front of the wheel wells. Now with these smaller SUVs, it would be nice that they put something here on the side to move the seats down at that 60-40 split to increase cargo to 55.1 cubic feet. I'm at 6'3", so I can do it without any issues. You can detach this seat belt, but if you need it for 3 occupants, obviously you're going to be leaving it connected. From front to back, I got 70 inches, which is nearly 6 feet of storage. The key fob to the ADX. 8-way power seat adjustment, leatherette seating, heated seats is standard, manual seat adjustment for the passenger, 8 speakers standard, with a 9-inch infotainment screen that's stationed on top of the dash. And I like that you have this little pattern here. It offsets with the glossy black and the satin aluminum and the air vents with more of a honeycomb design interior. Knee space is at 3 inches here, and I have about 4 inches at 6'3". You do have this little wall that kind of is annoying to me because, I mean, I don't need a grab handle. This is not a performance variant. I would have appreciated to have a full pass-through, but I do appreciate that all trims get a wireless charging pad, 2 USB-C ports here, and a 12-volt that's tucked here. Let's fire it up. Now you're gonna lose things because this is the base trim, so no ambient lighting, a single climate control. You don't get HD radio, you're not gonna get Acura connection, you'll get wireless connectivity like your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, AM and FM. Put it into reverse and you get a reverse camera with the trajectory that does expand whenever it actually decides to turn on. There it is. And you can change the camera layout here. You have a cup holder here that has kind of like a key effect. The glossy black comes into play around your dynamic mode, which you have 3 different driving modes that you can choose from, starting with Sport, Normal, and Comfort. This is a digital reader, so they take care of you with digital screens, and it is configurable on both sides, so you can go through an array of different content for the driver. And then you have another cup holder here. But with the way the HRV is designed is you kind of have like a his and her USB port instead of everything here, and you don't have this wall. You have this little area here that kind of opens up, so it does give a little bit more space. Opening up here, it is pretty deep, it's just not so wide, and it's going to be soft to touch where it needs to be. With a leather wrap steering wheel, it's multi-function, and you get the paddle shifts. Knee space for the driver, I have almost 8 inches, and then on this side, I have another near 8 inches. You have a little area here for maybe some change. Auto dimming rear view mirror. You don't get a home link, but you will be getting LED interior lights, the sunglass holder, and a moonroof. And headroom is more than optimal for a smaller SUV. The door panel and dash, it configures it together nicely. It kind of keeps that Honda styling alive on the HRV, the way this bulges out. They don't do that on this side. So what I'm getting at is some of the way they threw in the materials, they could have probably cleaned it up just a touch, especially with the harder materials. At this price, I'm not gonna complain. You get the contrast stitching, one touch up and down for the windows. It's soft to touch where it needs to be with a medium storage pocket. For the back seats, you can fit 2 because we have the cup holders and armrests down. No charging ports. You do get air vents. You get storage here. You have to go up into the A-spec in order to receive those. The door card is going to be stripped of the material on the top, and you're not going to get ambient lighting on this trim. The center here is going to be the same as the HRV with the same size storage pocket, except you get this little pattern that comes into play. Sitting behind me, the seats are carved out, so that definitely helps with knee space, giving me about 3 inches on both sides. And headroom is more than enough. I would say it's at least 2 or 3 inches. Yes, it's a small SUV, and yes, I have over 1 inch here, and I have about 4.5 inches here. Even though it's going to be sharing some feet, butt, leg, and shoulder space, it's more than optimal because I have nearly 20 inches from side to side. And even headroom, I probably have 2 or 3 inches. So when you're thinking about, it's a smaller SUV, I mean, I can literally fit even sitting in the center. 190 horses with 179 pound-feet of torque, and turn radius to start us off with is about 2 lanes. We're gonna throw it into sport, if I can find it. Let's rock and roll. It's a fun little vehicle, I'm not gonna lie. The suspension to it's gonna be a little bit more rigid than a HRV. It's not gonna be as athletic as the Germans by any standard. And because it's a CVT transmission, at times it can feel sluggish, especially whenever you're slowing down like this, and then you wanna mash on the gas like this. A substantial amount of turbo lag comes into play. But I appreciate that I get over 30 horsepower more and over 40 pound-feet of torque more than the HRV. Braking on the vehicle, no one's behind me. And if I need to, I can go through the windscreen. I wish the sound deadening was a little bit better. And for the wheels, every time you go into these luxury sporty SUVs, you're getting 18, 19, 20-inch wheels. At least they only go to 19-inch wheels, so it's not so unbearable. You could drive this every day. The seat comfort is good, and you also have like this cloth inserts which hold you well even though you don't have a lot of power seat adjustments. When you're coming from a stop point though, there's a lot of torque. It's just when you do that and then you have to kind of brake, now you have a lot of turbo lag. That could have been cleaned up a little bit considering I am paying a premium going into Acura opposed to keeping a Honda. Maneuverability, steering it has some weight to it, so I appreciate that. But there's not a lot of feedback. It's not a sports car. It will get up there. It's going to take a little bit of time, and you're really not expecting it to be ultra fast. But what I like is when you go into the driving mode select, it will stay at a higher RPM whenever you are trying to take off or maneuver into the interstate, because the HR-V does have a little bit less power and you can feel it a little bit more so. But the competition is so close to the same pricing. The reason why this is a budget-friendly, I hate to say sweet spot, but it is because it's in the lower $30,000 price. No vehicle puts itself in that segment. Now, once you start going into like the A spec, you're in the mid 30s to near 40s, you're almost touching Lexus, which Lexus, everyone knows, you get better MPGs and it's a hybrid only on the UX. Lincoln, it's gonna start touching in the $40,000 price. Cadillac, they don't really make anything comparable. And if you go into the Germans, well, now you're getting full-blown performance with the suspension tuning, with the engine itself, and it's going to feel a lot more agile. So this ticks the box to the everyday drive, budget-friendly, giving you more than enough amenities in the interior. And the styling, I think it looks pretty good for a price point. I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here. And I'd like to thank our friends here at Regal Acura.